We're going to continue to work on our website project. What we'll be working with now is we're going to create a reusable call to action section. I'm going to be adding this to my homepage. I'll go into the pages section of my website. I'm going to build this right on my homepage, and then we're going to turn this into a pattern so that we can use it on other pages. We'll begin by inserting a row into our project. And within the row, I'm going to create a paragraph of text. Let's center align the text. We're also going to change the size to medium, and I'm going to change the text color to white. Obviously, this is difficult to read presently, but we will adjust this shortly. I'm going to go back into my row, and I'm going to make sure that the content items are justified in center as well. This will ensure that the text stays centered. Now we'll go to the style area of the row. We're going to add a background color, and I'm going to use my dark teal, and then we're going to add a background image. I'll choose something from my media library. I've created an image that has a transparent background and something that I can tile if I want to. This image just has some leaves, and because it has a transparent background and has partial transparency, the background color of this area will show through. Because I want to control the way the background image sits within this area, I'm going to click on the name of the background. This will allow me to adjust the focal point of the image, and you can see as I move this, the image is going to move around within the space. I can also manually adjust this by typing in a numeric value, and I can choose how I want the image to display. Currently, it's displayed as cover. I can choose contain, and then you can see the entire image, or I could tile the image. I will choose tile image, and I'm going to plug in a numeric value here for how I want this image tiled. You may need to experiment a little bit around with these settings so that you can position the element in the way that you want. But I like the way this is looking so far, so I'm going to leave this as is. In addition to this, I am going to turn all of the padding off as well as the margin. Then I'm going to add padding on the top and the bottom back in. I will go ahead and add padding of medium, and for the margin on the top and the bottom, I'm going to add small. This will just create some additional spacing. Finally, I'm going to make sure that the row is selected, and then we're going to set this to full width. This will ensure that the image is going to take up a full width. In addition, I also want to create a little bit more padding, so I'm going to bump my padding up to large. Then I will unlink these elements, and it looks like I might need a little bit more padding on the bottom, so I'm going to add some additional padding to the bottom. Let's save this once again and preview it in the browser, and now this is looking much more to my liking. Before I move on, because I do want to use this type of element on other pages, I'm going to add one more element so that it can be part of my pattern. After the paragraph, I'm going to add a button. I'll go into list view, and because I did not create multiple columns, the button is going to appear next to the paragraph. That is not what I want to do. So let's go ahead and create a stack instead of a row. I'm going to select the row element and change this to a stack. This will ensure that the items are going to stack on top of each other. I'm going to justify the items to the center, and now I will need to make some adjustments to my button itself. Let's go into styles, and let's change the block setting of the stack to make sure that this is down to none. I don't want too much space between these elements. I'll type the text that I want to display, and then with the button selected, I'm going to go into styles. I will change my text color to white. The background color is going to be white, but I'm going to change the opacity and bring this way down. So the opacity will be somewhere around 30-ish%. Then I'll go into the border, and I'm going to set the border color to white. We'll make this 1 pixel. Let's turn on our drop shadow, and we'll add a drop shadow to the button as well to give it a little bit more depth. Let's save this. And if we refresh, we can see what this looks like on the page. I think that looks pretty good, although I think I might make the opacity a little bit darker. So we'll come back to the button and make sure that is selected. I'm going to go into styles. We'll go into background. And if we click on this, we can adjust the opacity slightly. So I'm just going to make this a little bit darker. And I think this looks good. Before I create a link for this area, I'm going to turn this into a pattern. I will select my stack. I'm going to go to the 3 dots and we'll say create pattern. We're just going to call this a CTA banner. And I'm going to uncheck synced since I'm going to want to change different properties about this banner on my different pages. I will click add, and now I'll go back to the button and we're going to make the button a link, and we're going to link this to our services page. So we have a design and services page. I will save this. And once again, if I update this, you can see that here is my banner section. And of course, if we click this, it's going to take us to the design and service page. These are pretty much all things that you've done before, aside from using a background image. I find that sometimes you can really add a little bit more interest to your website by incorporating background images. And now you know how to do this.